In this video, we're going to cover why robotics is going to be the next trillion-dollar industry and why robotics will be the next big crypto narrative and trend. So let's get right into it. So before we start, this is video summary of the in-depth deep dive we did on Robotic Alpha, which is our robotics newsletter. So this is basically our full robotics thesis. It's quite long, it's quite meaty, and there's a ton of really cool insights in there. That's what you want to check out if you want to really deep dive into it. But this video, the goal is to give you a high-level overview so you can decide whether you want to go deeper down the rabbit hole. So let's talk about the rise of AI-powered robotics. So robotics is emerging as a trillion-dollar industry due to a couple of factors. One is the rise of advanced AI, and the second is physical automation. AI-powered robots are breaking free from the digital realm and actually doing work in the real world. And this is what I think is going to be the truly crazy part about AI. Like, we already know that knowledge work is going to be quite augmented or replaced by AI, but within 10 to 20 years, we're going to have robots doing a ton of stuff in the physical world as well. So this is a really interesting trend. Right now, the market cap of robotics is around 132 billion, projected to get to around 368 billion in 2033. I actually think this is conservative. If you consider Tesla a robotics company, I think we'll see this be a $1 trillion market cap. And I do think Tesla is turning into a robotics company with Optimus and what they're building there. Now let's quickly talk about why robotics is experiencing such a massive explosion. So previously in robotics, we were constrained not by the physical side of things, but the actual AI portion of it, right? So we've actually had robots for decades. The problem is we haven't really had the AI side of it, the models that really empower these AIs to go and be able to do a lot of complex tasks, be adaptable, and so on, right? So that's been like the main constraint. Now that we have these advanced AI models, robotics is seeing pretty fast resurgence, and this is leading to just a ton of innovation. And that's kind of the cool thing. The limitation here wasn't as much physical as it was like the actual AI portion of it. So now we've unlocked that. We're gonna see like crazy growth. And that's why I think people are underestimating things. They think, hey, AI took like such a long time, so robotics is gonna take forever because now you have to like build these physical things. But in reality, the physical aspects aren't as complicated as the AI aspects here. Now, how does crypto fit into robotics? So one of the key pieces here is that with robots and robotics, you're gonna have to have trust and like coordination layers between these robots, right? There's gonna be robots doing a lot of different things in the real world, and blockchain just makes sense as that trust and coordination layer, especially for distribution of value, right? Like, you already see digital AI agents that are operating on the blockchain, and I can see robots as well, for example, doing transactions on the blockchain. And with the amount of innovation and like deregulation we're seeing in this, I actually think this is quite doable, right? Like, with this new stablecoin bill, you're seeing mass adoption of stablecoins and financial institutes getting in. It's quite possible that in the future, instead of using Visa or those kind of traditional payment rails, the robots might actually just skip that and go straight to blockchain. There's also quite a lot going on in terms of crypto native infrastructure for advanced robotics R&D. So for example, NRN Agents is building essentially a data contribution through simulation platform, right? So you have these different environments where people can essentially go and play, and then that is used to generate data to train these base kind of foundational simulation to real models. And then that gives the robot some sort of a base to go and like start operating the real world. So they're tackling the sim to real issue. You also have Reborn, which is building out a whole stack of infrastructure. They're incentivizing people to go and contribute data. So they're also doing some really interesting stuff. BitRobot is building BitTensor for robotics. So essentially think of it as these different subnets where you receive tokens for advancing robotic research, especially on the AI side. So contributing data, contributing AI models, etc. And then you also have the rise of essentially decentralized kind of infrastructure for machine generated data, etc. Right? So you have a lot of teams that are tackling that. The last piece I want to say is data contribution is a perfect use case for blockchain and crypto. So a great example of this is Protobots, which is from the BitRobot team. Essentially these sidewalk robots that you essentially drive around, you pay $199 for them, and then you can rent them out. You can compete in competitions to earn crypto. So they're really cool. So anything where you need to incentivize people to supply data, crypto is a great fit for. for. And so getting people to go and create data by driving these robots, etc., is something you're going to see more of. And that's going to lead to a real kind of adoption of crypto and robotics. So those are just a few use cases. If you want to check out all of them, go check out this article right here where we just deep dive into crypto and robotics. Like I mentioned, these are the teams that I really like. So Ex Machina is one I haven't mentioned. Essentially co-ownership of real world robotic assets. They're also investing into robotic teams as well. So co-ownership of assets and decentralized ownership of robotic assets is something that crypto is great for. So imagine being able to have initial robotic offerings where it's like, hey, we're going to go buy 1,000 Optimuses and go put them to this use case, right? That's an interesting idea. And that's something that I think we're going to see more and more of. And yeah, like I mentioned, BitRobot Network, think of it as like Tau for robotics. Reborn is just doing everything across the full stack. So we have a video coming out on them as well. And then NRN agents, basically crowdsourced learning for robotic intelligence, mostly focused on sim to real right now. They're leveraging a lot of what they did with gaming, where they crowdsourced like essentially gameplay data to train robots. And yeah, so that's wrapping it up. So we've trained the brain. Now let's give it hands, right? So we've trained AI, we've really advanced AI. Now let's give it hands so it can go do things in the real world for us. And this will lead to such prosperity and abundance for humanity. So I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm also excited for crypto's role in this. And I do think that having some sort of way of essentially owning these robots or having decentralizing ownership of them is going to be really important. These robots are going to be the next version of, let's say, investing in stocks or investing in real estate, right? Like they're basically going to be income generating assets. And I think it's important that people have access to these. So I think it's going to be a pretty important trend that we'll keep an eye on. So thanks for watching. Like I said, go check out the newsletter, Robotic Alpha at Substack, and then follow our X as well. And yeah, if you're on YouTube, subscribe so you can stay updated to when my next video comes out. Thank you for watching. See you later.